Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am so grateful that you are here. My name is Nikki and I use my clairaudient and channeling abilities to help people find the magic within. If you're new here, welcome. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload new videos every week. Today I will be channeling messages from 3 different characters in the film Less Than Zero. This film came out in 1987 and was directed by Marek Kanivska. The story follows Clay, Blair, and Julian. They are all in high school in the beginning of the film, and Clay is gearing up to go to college. And both of his friends, Blair and Julian, they want to stay back and not go to school. They have other aspirations for themselves. So when Clay comes back for Thanksgiving, he finds that Blair and Julian are having an affair, and he gets really, really angry, and he's bitter. But by the time Christmas rolls around, Blair calls him on the phone and asks him if he's coming home for Christmas, and he says, "Yeah, I believe that I am." And she says she wants to meet up with him. He still has these bitter feelings within him, but what he doesn't realize when he comes back is that Blair and Julian are caught up in a deadly cycle of addiction. And he doesn't realize how bad it has gotten until he's immersed in it. This is a very dark film, and I think this film epitomizes what addiction looks like to a T. I actually grew up around addiction, so this film really hit home for me, and it's one of my favorite films. I have watched it many times. It's not one I like to watch repeatedly all the time, but it does have some very good messages in terms of the shadow aspect of addiction, and I felt called to channel some messages from this film today. So in the next part of the video, you will see 3 different piles. Each pile represents a different character in the film. So meditate on the pile that is speaking to you and go to the timestamps that I provide down below to go directly to your reading from there. Also, if any part of a message does not resonate, just know that message is not for you. Don't try to force something that does not fit. Only take what resonates and leave what does not. Let's jump into the readings. Hey, pile number 1, welcome to your reading. The character from Less Than Zero that you chose for this pile is Clay. Clay was played by Andrew McCarthy in the film Less Than Zero. I have your pile right here. Let's see what your messages are. Your first card is Meditate and Contemplate, New Moon in Pisces. Okay, so with this card from the film, I'm being shown the scene with Clay in the beginning of the film after he finds out that Blair and Julian have been seeing each other. And Blair calls Clay to ask him if he's coming home for Christmas. And after he receives that call, there's a scene where he is sitting on his bed and he's just looking out the window and he's contemplating what it is that he wants to do. So for some of you, I feel like there is a third party situation going on right now, and Spirit is saying the best thing for you to do is to meditate and contemplate on what is the right course of action for you. And for others of you, if you're finding yourself in a difficult situation within a relationship, to meditate and contemplate, to go within and to reflect on how you are truly feeling and what it is you want to do to move forward with this difficult situation that has transpired in your life. But Spirit keeps reiterating the third party transaction in this film, the third party situation in this film. So I do feel like for a lot of you, you're in a situation where there is a third party involved and it's causing some rifts in all different dynamics of these relationships. Spirit is saying to meditate and contemplate, because that is what will help you figure out the best course of action for you, to sit with your emotions, sit with your feelings, to meditate, go within, and to reflect on the situation before you. And you'll come to a realization of what is best for you because you're listening to yourself and trusting yourself in that process. The new moon in Pisces, a person involved here could very well be a Pisces. You could be a Pisces. One of the third parties could be a Pisces. There's just a lot of water energy. And Spirit is also showing me the scene in Less Than Zero where Clay is swimming underwater. So perhaps some of you are swimmers. Perhaps some of you are, I'm hearing swimming party. Perhaps this situation took place at a swimming party, or you're just an athletic swimmer to begin with, or you do that to exercise. Picking up on water energy for some of you, the Pisces energy is coming through very strongly. Your next card is, the more energy and intention I bring to my faith, the more fearless and free I am. So I'm going to place my hand on this card and see what Spirit is showing me from the film Less Than Zero, from Clay particularly. Thank you, Spirit. What were you aiming for when you chose this card from Clay? First and foremost, they're showing me how fearless Clay is in the sense of going to college to figure out who he is and what it is he wants to do. They're showing him traveling back and forth between home and where he goes to college. So some of you, there might be some fears here around traveling. There might be some fears about wanting to go to school or take an online course with something. And Spirit is saying the more energy and intention you bring to your faith, the more fearless and free you are. So Clay is someone who is very fearless. And you see that dynamic really perpetuate the more the story goes on, because later in the film, when he finds out how bad the situation has got with his friend Julian, who is immersed in addiction, Julian owes a huge sum of money to one of their mutual friends named Rip. And once Clay sees how bad the situation is, he goes to Rip with this fearless energy, and he's just like, stay away from him. I will get you the money. You don't have to do anything at all. Just stay away from Julian and I will get the money. Like, he is not afraid to stand up to Rip. So Spirit is showing me that you have a very powerful presence about you when you feel the need to confront someone. And you're not afraid to speak your truth, but also at the same time, you're not afraid to say what you need to say. And if that means making the situation, confronting in a situation that feels uncomfortable, you're not afraid to do that. So that is very admirable to have. And whatever situation you find yourself in, Spirit is saying have faith at this time, because the more intention you bring to your faith, that is what is going to help you continue to be fearless and help you realize how free you truly are. Next, we have dissipating. And the energy with this card is, in a sense, knowing what one needs to do, but not really taking action. Spirit is showing me how Clay, he allowed his bitterness to prevent him from really seeing how much help his friend Julian needed. He was so mad at Julian for stepping in on his girl that when Blair is trying to tell Clay how bad the addiction has gotten, how sick Julian has been getting, he just kind of brushes it off. And then there's multiple scenes where Clay goes to reach out to Julian, but it seems like he doesn't want to be bothered by it because he's still having trouble forgiving Julian for what he did in regards to Blair. So there is some type of a situation in your life right now where Spirit is saying there is action that needs to be taken. And I do feel strongly that some of you are dealing with someone who is caught up in an addiction, and Spirit is saying, what can you do to truly help this person? How can you love this person unconditionally? For others of you, this is a matter of just not letting certain opportunities pass you by. If you're working on something and you have these opportunities that are presenting themselves, Spirit is saying, don't be like the woman on this card and let them pass you by. Try new things and see where they take you, because you don't know where the path is going to lead you. Have faith and trust in yourself. So there's a dynamic here of taking action with someone in your life who truly needs help, and not being aloof to that, kind of allowing yourself to set any bad blood aside and to truly allow yourself to forgive, because holding on to that resentment, what that's doing is it when we can't forgive, it causes us to relive that trauma over and over and over again. So when we forgive, we are truly freeing ourselves from the past and allowing ourselves to be in the present. So there's someone here who needs help, in a sense of needing support in some area. If you can see how bad a situation is, Spirit is saying don't ignore that. Don't ignore the severity of the situation, especially if you see the awareness of how bad something may have gotten with a valued friend in your life, or valued lover, valued family member, whoever this could represent at this time. Next, we have every cycle is a higher opportunity. So the number on the card is 13. That might be significant to some of you. I'm going to place my hand on the card and see what Spirit shows me from the film Less Than Zero. Thank you, Spirit. What are you trying to say with every cycle is a higher opportunity? What's the example from the film? They're showing me Blair and Clay arguing with one another. They're showing me a cycle of arguing, specifically in a romantic relationship. Like, but they're also showing me how passionate this relationship is. Clay and Blair in this film, they are two people who cannot keep their hands off of each other. And they show in the beginning of the film how Clay's going to college and he wants Blair to come with her, and she's like, "No, I don't want to." And this causes a rift in their relationship, and then he finds out she's cheating on him. So there could be a cycle of infidelity, cheating within your life right now. There might be a pattern of always attracting people who cheat on you, and this is a cycle Spirit is saying it's a cycle that is teaching you something about a higher opportunity. It's helping you become aware of this pattern so that you can heal it and break it once and for all. And also the pattern of fighting with one another. After Clay finds out how deep Julian's addiction is, they set out to go find him, and they can't find him anywhere. And they're showing me a scene in particular where they are driving in this tunnel. Clay and Blair are driving in this tunnel, and Clay gets triggered by something Blair says, and Blair gets triggered by Clay. So I feel like this is a very triggering relationship that's reminiscent of something in your life. And she gets triggered and she just starts storming off walking. They're showing me her storming off walking, and he chases after her and he goes, "I love you, but I'm getting out of here as soon as I can." And she goes, "You don't care about anybody." So this is like a pattern of him not really allowing himself to see what is going on with two of the people that he loves most in his life. Spirit is saying, open your perception, allow yourself to be aware of something that is toxic, and how can you infuse unconditional love into this situation. So yeah, I feel like there was an argument where one of you was driving and the car was stopped, and one of you got out, stormed away, and this has been like a similar dynamic in your relationship for a while. So what Blair is saying is, "You don't care about anybody." And he goes, "I love you, but I just don't want to put up with this, and I'm getting out of here as soon as I can." Clay was stuck in a cycle of refusing to see how bad things got. Blair was in a cycle of kind of, she continuously went to Clay, but when he didn't react the way that she wanted, she would blow up. So her pattern was blowing up and to storm off. When they both really did want similar things, they were just not communicating with each other. So there's cycles of arguments, there's cycles of refusing to see the truth about a toxic situation, and there is a cycle here about cheating. So Spirit is saying these cycles are opportunities for higher learning. What is the lesson in this cycle, and how can you infuse unconditional love in it and break the cycle once and for all? We have contract. Okay, Spirit, what scene from Less Than Zero are you referring to with this card, contract? They're pointing out soul contracts, how they're showing the dynamics between Blair and Clay and Claire and Julian, and how these were soulmate connections in his life that were teaching him uncomfortable lessons, but they were necessary because his soul chose to experience those when he incarnated on Earth. Now, that's not a message that you hear in the film, but this is reminiscent of your current situation. these uncomfortable situations you find yourself in, these are people you have soul contracts with that are helping you learn higher lessons on your soul's journey. So, the most difficult people in our life, the ones that we seem to have the most issues with, those are the ones that teach you the most valuable lessons. So, I am hearing addiction. There is a soul contract here with learning how to deal with addiction, how to view addiction, how to help people with addiction. I'm also hearing soul contracts in the term of toxic relationships, how to learn from cheating and to break that cycle once and for all, especially if one has that pattern within themselves. If you are someone who has cheated, then that could very well be why you've attracted people who are also cheaters. So, just becoming aware of these things so that you can look at them and transcend them, transmute the energy. So, there's a lot of soul contracts in your situation right now. Next, we have strategy. This is a very powerful message here. Spirit is saying that it's important for you to create a strategy for yourself. And they are showing me the scene once Clay comes into the realization about how bad the addiction with his best friend Julian has got. He creates a strategy to take Julian back to school with him. He steps up and he's doing everything in his power to help his friend get away from the addiction and to help him become sober. He creates a strategy to take both of his friends back to school with him so that they can make a clean break. So, Spirit is saying get very clear on a strategy for your current situation right now that will help you transcend and break any patterns, break any cycles while still learning the lesson. If we don't learn the lesson, the cycle will repeat it. So, how can you create a strategy for yourself to transcend these difficult cycles that are showing up in your life right now? So get very crystal clear. And I'm being drawn to the feather quill pen on the card here. Spirit is saying to journal it out, because when we journal and we write, we come into some of the most powerful realizations about what we should do next. This is how we get clarity on any areas where there may be confusion. So set a strategy in place for yourself that will help you really go within to write out your feelings, to recognize any patterns, because when you write out how you feel, you write out a strategy for yourself, those patterns have a tendency to just come off the page and help you become aware of them. So it's crucial to create a strategy for yourself right now with whatever it is you're going through. Next, we have woman holding a heart. So I know that this is representing Blair in the film, but I'm going to place my card and see what scene in particular they are referring to. Okay, so early on in the film, after Clay returns home, he goes and visits Blair at her modeling studio where she models. And he visits her in the back room after she's done, and she had just gotten out of the shower. She's brushing her hair, and she asks him to go out that night. She wants to spend time with him, and he's like, "No, I'm sorry. Maybe next time. I'm gonna go back home here soon." And she's like, "Oh, I thought you were staying longer. I thought we were gonna get to spend some time together." And this was Blair really opening her heart to Clay. She knew she hurt him. She was opening herself up to him, and he still had the bars up around his heart. He was still hurt by what had happened with her, but she was really trying. She was trying to make things right. She's saying, "Hey, I want to spend time with you." And he was just kind of shutting it down. So Spirit is showing me that there is a person in your life who is offering up their heart. So are you truly letting this person in? Are you letting your guard down? Because this person has a lot of love for you. I can see there's a lot of passion with this person, but there is a fear here of being hurt because this person has either hurt you or someone in the past has hurt you. Can you forgive this person and try again? Or can you recognize, if you were hurt by someone else, that this person was not the one who hurt you, and allow you to break those walls down, to truly open your heart and to let this person in? There's someone offering their heart to you right now. And that's the scene that I'm seeing from Less Than Zero. Next we have the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is all about home life and celebration. So I'm going to place my hand on the card. Which scene are you referring to from Less Than Zero for this card, Spirit? Thank you. They're showing me how Clay's family has a Christmas celebration at their home. And how they're all sitting around enjoying each other's company. Spirit is saying, whatever you're going through right now, spending time with loved family members will help you forget about the difficulty of the situation. Spirit is saying spend time with family, and that there's also some family who might have some insights for you about your situation if that happens to be brought up during these discussions. Like I'm being shown like family game nights. I'm being shown watching movies with family, going out to eat with family, just having that camaraderie with people who you love will help get your mind off of any difficulties that you're going through at this time. And yeah, birthdays, just type of celebrations, if you get invited to anything like a family reunion, these would be ideal to go to at this time and to connect with family and friends. Next we have purity. Always trust in the purity of your heart. Look inside your heart, and within it you will find the answer to your question. And that's where meditate and contemplate was coming through. Spirit is saying to look within, to trust in what your heart is saying, because that won't steer you wrong when trying to find answers to certain questions that you have. So I'm going to place my hand on the purity card here. What is purity representing in the film? They're showing me Clay's little sister and how there's a scene where Julian comes and he's going to steal Clay's mother's jewelry. But in that moment, she shows a lot of compassion for Julian. So I feel like there is a young child in your life who really represents purity in your life. You can learn a lot from this child. And Julian is joking around with her, and he goes, "You never call me. Why are girls so cold?" He's like joking around with her, and she turns to him and she kind of giggles, and he goes, "Oh, I see how it is." And she just goes and she kisses him on the cheek. And you can see that he was in the process of stealing this jewelry. The little girl didn't know. She just represented the purity in that moment and how she had compassion for him. And there, Spirit is emphasizing a child in your life right now who represents this purity, and you can learn a lot from. but also to remember to go within and listen to your heart, because our hearts are intended to be pure, and your heart will always have the answer that you are looking for when you really tune in and listen to yourself. We have 2 affirmation cards to end the reading with. We have believing requires action. And if you think someone could use a friend, be one. So yeah, with this one, Clay had a hard time in the film Less Than Zero being a friend to Julian, because he had a hard time forgiving him for stepping in on his girl. So perhaps you have a friend who betrayed you in a relationship, and now you're seeing how much help they need, but it's hard to separate the feelings of hurt, but also at the same time wanting to help your friend. And that's just a specific message for some of you. But if you're seeing someone in your life struggle, if you see them having a difficult time with something, be a friend to them, because that's unconditional love coming through your heart to this person. Now, I know when it comes to, like, for example, addiction, which is the theme of this film, it is important to detach oneself and love from a distance if this person just keeps going through this cycle of wanting to, do harmful things, toxic things. Sometimes we have to put up boundaries, healthy boundaries. But at the same time, you can still be there for this person, be a friend, while maintaining those healthy boundaries. It is possible to do that. So if there's someone in your life who's struggling and you see that they need a friend, not necessarily addiction, it could be anything you see someone struggling with, how can you be a friend to that person and infuse unconditional love into the situation? Because in the film, by the time Clay realizes he wants to be a friend to Julian, it gets to the point where it's too late. So, with believing requires action, I'm going to place my hand on the card here and see what scene Spirit is bringing through for this film. Believing requires action. What scene does this represent in the film? They're just referring back to the dissipating card. Believing requires action. Sometimes it's hard to believe in people that we think are too far gone. But Spirit is saying that in the divine's eyes, nobody is ever too far gone to improve or to heal. And when we recognize that, we can look at the situation with a new perspective, new set of eyes, and we can have that hope and belief that things can change. Now, this isn't in a sense of controlling people. People have free will, and they are going to make decisions for themselves that they think are best for them. And it's just in our interest to gauge those situations, set healthy boundaries if we need, but not to become complacent where we're seeing someone we love taking a downward spiral if there's something that we could do to be a friend, to be a loved one, and to take action. So continue to have that hope and belief that things can get better, because they can. But don't allow yourself to be complacent in a situation that is really, really toxic. Thank you, pile number 1. Those are your channeled messages from Clay in the film Less Than Zero. If you enjoyed your reading, if it resonated, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, and I will see you on the next one. Bye. Hey, pile number 2, welcome to your reading. Blair is your character from the film Lesson Zero. I have your pile right here. Let's see what your messages are. We have you're very close to achieving your goal. Gibbous Moon. Okay, so with this card, Spirit is showing me how Blair is a model. Perhaps some of you have aspirations to be a model, or you're just following a path that is creative and unique to you. And in the film, I'm being shown the scene where she's actually at a film shoot and they're taking photos of her. She's laying down and there's like this red plastic thing on her her throat, and they're taking photos of her very up close. So Spirit wants you to know on your creative journey, you're very close to achieving your goal. Blair was still in the process of getting her modeling career going, and she in the film she keeps getting all of these really cool jobs. So I feel like a lot of opportunities are presenting them to you, and Spirit wants you to know that the goal that you have set for yourself, you're very, very close to achieving it. Whether you're a musician, actor, writer, whatever your creative path is, you're very, very close. Next, we have the universe works fast when I'm having fun. Spirit is showing me the scene in Lesson Zero where Julian and Blair, they're trying to get Clay to come out and party with them. They want to have some fun. And they go to this club, and Clay goes and gets something to eat. He brings it back. He's sitting down, and he can see Blair, and she's dancing in the crowd. Spirit wants you to know that when you're in that energy of having fun, your manifestations come to you that quicker. So they're pointing out the scene where she's just dancing and having fun in the crowd, and Spirit is saying when you get into the state of joy and feeling good and having fun, then that will bring your goal right to your doorstep that much quicker. So have fun with what it is you are doing. Don't be so hard on yourself. I'm unapologetic about what I desire and trust that what I focus on will grow. So yeah, this is why Spirit is saying have fun. Do it for the joy of doing it, because you love to do it, because love is the most powerful emotion in the world, along with joy. And when you are unapologetic about what it is that you want, you usher in what you want more quickly. So what you focus on grows. If you're focusing on all of the things that could potentially go wrong, then that's what's going to manifest. Like I'm being taken back to the scene where Blair was modeling and the photographers are speaking under their breath a little quietly, but if you pay attention really, really closely, you can hear that they are being critical of the lines that are on her neck. So there could be some fear about what other people think, fear of being criticized, judged by other people. Don't let that get in the way of your dreams. Be unapologetic about what it is you want. And if there are haters, critical people, just don't let that get in here. Keep doing you and focus on having fun, bringing joy to what you do, and passion to what you do. That is what is most important. My energy creates my reality. What I focus on is what I will manifest. Okay, so with this card, they are pointing out to me that Blair had some toxic patterns in her life that were, in a sense, keeping her from getting to the next level. She would do a little bit of cocaine here and there throughout the movie, and she has this attitude of, I can quit anytime I want, not realizing that it's really affecting her ability to get herself to the next level. I don't really pick up on an addiction here with you, but Spirit is pointing out some type of toxic pattern, a negative pattern. It could just be the loop of critical thinking about oneself that you need to break out of. It could be another person who could be affecting what it is you're doing. Maybe they're putting down your dream, something along those lines. But Spirit wants you to know that it's your energy that creates your reality. It's not other people, unless you allow other people to do that for you. You can do that. But once you realize that all the power is with you, you can realize these toxic patterns, these negative patterns, which I'm mostly seeing in the forms of negative thinking. Spirit is pointing out that she had an addiction in the film. That very well could be the case here. And addiction could be anything. It could be an addiction to social media, it could be addiction to needing validation from other people. It could be an addiction in any sense of the word. So, Spirit wants you to know that your energy, your personal energy, is what creates your reality, and what you focus on is what you will manifest. So, focus on what you do want. Don't focus on what you don't want. That is what is going to get you to the next level, because you're that close. And I feel like these are things that you are coming into the realization of. So the main thing here is to focus on having fun, not getting caught up in what other people may be saying negatively about what it is you're creating. Don't care about that. Next, we have guilt. And it's interesting because the gal in the back of the card is sitting at the table, drinking a bottle of vodka, getting drunk, while the lady with the halo on her head is doing her laundry, doing everything for her. She's basically enabling her addiction. So I am picking up on enabling someone's addiction, not really putting a foot down. And see how she's handcuffed? It's like she feels like she has to continue to please this person. So there's an enabling energy here. And I'm being shown the scene in Lesson 0 where Blair is telling Clay Julian's losing all this time and he'll show up at my apartment completely sick. I've had to take care of him many, many times. And there's a scene where things get really bad towards the end, and she's getting all dressed up and he goes, "Thank you for taking care of me again." And she's like, "Anytime," because she's a friend to him. She loves him. And he's like, "It's not going to happen again." But these are things that she has heard over and over and over again. And she feels guilty because she does love Julian. She loves her friend. She doesn't want to see him in this severe situation. She doesn't like seeing him sick and just getting in more and more into this downward spiral. But what she doesn't realize is that the guilt that she has with this relationship, it has in a sense enabled his behavior, and she has let him know repeatedly that she is someone that will just be a safe haven for him with this addiction. And you can see how it's taken a toll on her, because she's providing a place for him to stay, but she's not really helping him. She's just kind of enabling his behavior. And this is why she asked Clay for help in the film, because she didn't know what else to do, and she just didn't have that awareness. So I do feel like there's some people pleaser guilt here. There's some type of enabling behavior going on, and Spirit wants you to be mindful of that and to break yourself from this pattern, because when we enable other people, we're not holding space for them to learn the lesson on their own and to allow them to realize how strong they really are. We can detach with love. So there is some guilt around a certain situation right now that needs to be reflected on. So look, for some of you, look at where you may be enabling bad behavior. Next, we have to be enlightened, lighten up. So this just goes along with the universe works fast when I'm having fun. So there is a tendency to take things really, really seriously. And this is why Spirit is saying, have more fun, exude that into your life, and just lighten up about certain situations that may be transpiring in your life. And I feel that this is more in terms for those of you who are being hard on yourself in regards to what you are creating. If you're a model, if you're an actor, if you are a singer, writer, dancer, have more fun. And I'm going to place my hand on the card and see what is coming through from the film Less Than Zero. Thank you, Spirit. What scene were you referring to with this card with Blair? They're showing me the scene where Blair has come into the realization that she doesn't want to fuel her addiction anymore. And there's a scene where she actually dumps the cocaine down the sink, and there are women in the bathroom, and they're like, oh man, what a waste, like telling her that because she threw away the drugs down the sink that she wasted something really good. And Blair tells them to call a plumber. Like, she stands in her truth and she goes, call a plumber. And I think what Spirit is reflecting here are the women that were being judgmental of Blair in this moment. So I keep hearing judgment here. So if there's a tendency for people to judge you that you're seeing, Spirit is saying that you can transcend this by looking upon these people with compassion, to make light of the situation, knowing that because you have been through something similar, you can look upon these people with compassion instead of resorting to a judgmental type of energy. So Spirit is saying to lighten up in that sense and to have compassion, seek to understand, not be judgmental, and remember to have fun with what it is you are creating in the world. Lighten up on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. Let go of any guilt. And when we release judgment, we truly become free. Next, we have 4th chakra, Archangel Raphael in reverse. I'm going to place my hand on the card and see what scene Spirit was referring to with this. This indicates a blocked heart chakra. They're showing me the scene where Blair and Clay have just slept with one another for the first time after he got back home, and they're kissing each other in bed, and Blair makes a comment around having children with Clay, but how they would have the maid raise the children. So there's some type of belief around having children here that has caused a blocked heart chakra. And they're also showing me the scene where Blair comes home to give her father a Christmas gift, and he doesn't even come out of his room to acknowledge her for Christmas. And she's like, I left your gift on the table. And he goes, thank you, honey. But he doesn't come out. He doesn't hug her. He doesn't give her a kiss. He doesn't acknowledge his daughter. So Spirit is showing me some inner child wounds that could be taking place here that have caused a blocked heart chakra. So inner child work would be very beneficial at this time, especially if you have an irritated relationship with one of your parents. They're specifically showing me the one with her father. And then when she makes this comment in bed with Clay about how the maid would raise her children, it's kind of like epitomizing her block heart chakra, because she wants to have children with this man, but yet she doesn't want to raise them. She wants to let a maid raise them. It just kind of gives you a little bit of insight into where her heart is really at when it comes to how she feels about committing to someone and moving forward with someone. So, what relationships in your life do you need to reflect on when it comes to your inner child? Because anything our parents did to us when we were kids, they were just projecting their hurt onto us. And when we have that awareness, we can learn to rise above it and have compassion for our parents if they weren't able to be there emotionally for us when we needed them. You can reparent yourself and give that love to yourself, and that will help you open your heart chakra even more. Next, we have moon energy. Surrender to the natural ebb and flow of life. If you're feeling confused, this fairy comes to calm emotions and reassure you that peace of mind is possible. Okay, Spirit, I'm going to put my hand on this card. What scene from the movie are you referring to with moon energy in regards to Blair? It says on the card specifically, if you're feeling confused. Spirit is showing me the scene where Clay and Blair are in the nightclub, and Clay asks Blair, "Are you happy?" And you can feel that sense of confusion about her feelings because she answers, "I'm not sad." And Clay says, "Well, you don't look happy." And she says, "But do I look good?" I love that quote. But this is the scene that Spirit is bringing through here. Surrender to the natural ebb and flow of life. If you're feeling confused, this fairy comes to calm emotions and reassure you that peace of mind is possible. So Blair was grappling with feelings of how she really felt. And she does say, "I'm not sad," but she didn't say yes to being happy. So Spirit wants you to know that happiness is a choice. It is your birthright, and you can choose to be happy right now in the present moment. That is what is going to get you to the next level that much quicker. It just seems like the missing piece here for what it is you are creating is to have fun and to feel joy while you're doing it, because it's your passion. It's what you are here to do. And being unapologetic about doing what you want, focusing on what you want, will grow that much more. Your energy creates your reality. So if you're perpetuating an energy of, "Yeah, I'm confused about happiness, not really sure about that," then your reality will reflect situations to you that show you that confusion and show you confusion about not being happy. So you can choose to be happy right now. Next, we have the Princess of Swords. And the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. With the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, I'm being shown with the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, I'm being shown how Blair cheated on Clay in the beginning of the film with Julian. And when this is in regards to a relationship, this can represent neglecting a relationship. So there is some type of a situation for some of you right now where a relationship is being neglected and feelings aren't really being taken into account. And with the Princess of Swords, Blair has a tendency to blow up when she's really angry. So I'm going to place my hand on the Princess of Swords and see what scene Spirit is bringing through here. They're showing me the scene where Blair jumps on Rip's back and is just kind of like lashing out at him because he was the one that was enabling Julian's addiction even more. He was the one that was giving him the drugs because Julian owed him $50,000 and he was not a good friend at all. But there's, for some reason, they're showing me Blair jumping on Rip's back and like just like kind of hitting him. So I feel like there is a tendency for some of you to be in these situations where there has been violence that has occurred, like fighting in some regards, and it has to do with like hurtful words that are being said. So while it is important to speak your truth, Spirit is saying be very mindful of the things that you are saying because it could prevent a situation from happening where it leads to, you know, fighting and getting physical. I want some more details on this Eight of Pentacles in reverse. What else do you want pile number 2 to know here, Spirit? For some of you, this is also not neglecting the work that you are creating. Don't neglect yourself. Keep the momentum going with what it is you are creating because you're very close to your goal. Don't give up now is what I'm hearing. The last card is you are smarter than you think. And I'm being shown the scene at the very beginning where Clay wants Blair to go to college with him. He was sure she was going to come with him. And she says, I don't know. I don't want to. And he was like, he gets really angry at her because she's not coming with him. And she says, because I don't want to. And then she admits, because I'm afraid. I'm afraid to go, okay? I am. And it was because she doubted the intelligence within her to be able to get an education with what it was she wanted to create. Now, this does not mean that she had to go to the same college as Clay. She could have went to a school in particular in regards to modeling to learn more about her craft. And learning is very, very important. So Spirit is showing me that some of you are doubting the intelligence within you, just like Blair did in this film. And you are smarter than you give yourself credit for. You have the entire universe encoded within you. You can do anything you set your mind to. And that seems to be like a cliche that a lot of people say, but it's 100% true. The mind is very, very powerful. And what you focus on grows. And it's important not to doubt your intelligence because you have infinite wisdom within you. And when you tap into that infinite within you. Nothing can stop you from creating what it is you want to create, pile number 2. You're smarter than you think. That is all that I am seeing, pile number 2. If your reading resonated, if you enjoyed it, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, and I will see you on the next one. Bye. Hey, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. Julian is your character from the film Lesson 0. I have your pile right here. Let's see what your messages are. Julian is played by Robert Downey Jr. in this film. We have expect powerful change, new moon eclipse. And conclusions are within reach, full moon eclipse. That's interesting because it is a full moon tonight, so that might be indicative of something for you at this time, something to do with the full moon. But expect powerful change and conclusions are within reach. I'm going to place my hands on the cards and see what Spirit is showing me from Lesson 0 from Julian. I'm hearing breakthrough because Julian in the film has a very strong addiction that he is having trouble overcoming. So for a lot of you, I feel like you are in the process of overcoming an addiction of some sort. And this doesn't have to be in regards to drugs. It very well can be. But this could be codependency addiction. This could be an isolation addiction. This could be an addiction to shopping, to gambling, any kind of addiction. It could be anything. But I heard breakthrough. So Spirit is saying expect powerful change and conclusions are within reach. And I feel like this full moon is activating something within you. And perhaps this reading is activating an awareness within you that you are capable of overcoming anything that you want to overcome. So good things are on the horizon. The conclusions that you are looking for are right around the corner, and powerful change is going to take place in helping you overcome anything that you have had trouble overcoming. Next, we have the universe has my back. So I am getting the feeling that you're not feeling very nurtured or supported at this time. And in the film, Julian feels the same way. He keeps trying to get help from people. He will go and stay at Blair's apartment when he gets sick. She takes care of him. His father completely disowned him. Won't even let him stay at the house because he had a tendency to steal, and he conned his way through rehab, so his father didn't trust him. So with whatever you are working through, overcoming right now, the universe is saying if you feel unsupported by the people in your life, the universe is saying, I have your back, and you are never alone. You have an energetic support team around you, angels, spirit guides, who you can call upon help if you're not getting support and help from the people in your life at this time. But Spirit also wants you to know that everything in our life is a reflection of us. So if you're surrounded by people who are unsupportive and aren't willing to be there for you in the way that you need, then it's important for you to first and foremost support yourself. All change first comes from within, but the universe has always had your back. Your angels, your spirit guides, they have always had your back. They have never left you. You are never alone. We are never truly alone. So first and foremost, support yourself, knowing that you have support around you all the time. Even if you can't see it, does not mean that it is not there. So Spirit is saying, don't get caught up with people who don't appear to have your back. We have your back. Believe and trust in that, and have your own back first and foremost. Next we have victim. So Julian was most certainly a victim in the film Less Than Zero. He was in the mindset that everything was happening to him and not for him. They're showing me the scene where Julian is asking his best friend Clay for money because he owes a large amount of money to a drug dealer, around $50,000. And Clay keeps asking him these questions, and Julian stays in this victim mentality of, I don't need a lecture, I just need the money. And he lashes out, he's angry, he's just in this victim mentality. So Spirit is saying, what will help you in your situation right now is first and foremost to take responsibility for your situation. Because when we can't take responsibility for the difficult things in our lives that are transpiring, that does not mean that everything is your fault. But by taking responsibility for your situation right now, you're not holding space for anyone else to control you or create your reality for you. And that's what happened. Julian refused to take responsibility in this film, and it led to a scenario where he was controlled by his drug dealer. His drug dealer took it upon himself to control Julian. So this is what a victim situation looks like. But when we take our power back and we realize that we're responsible for our lives, then we don't allow other people to control us. We take back control of our own life. So Julian was really out of control here. If you feel out of control in your current situation right now, first and foremost, support yourself, take your power back, know that you are a powerful, infinite being who can create your own reality. Everything that we experience in our life, we have many different choices that we can make. And if there is a cycle of addiction that keeps repeating itself over and over and over again, we have to make a new decision in order to break the pattern. We have to do something that we've never done. Otherwise, that pattern of addiction will stay in a circular pattern in our life. I am hearing isolation, so some of you may have a tendency to isolate yourself, and isolation is an addiction. So if you are feeling unsupported and unnurtured by people in your life, and this is stemming from an isolation addiction, then you have to break that pattern by actually getting out of your comfort zone to talk to people. That's how you break that addiction, okay? You have to allow yourself to talk to people even if you don't feel like talking to people. That's how you break that cycle. But this is the same pattern, the same formula that we use for anything in our life that has a cycle. You make a new decision instead of making the same decision over and over and over again. Whereas in the film, Julian kept making the same decision to return to drugs, to deal with the issues within himself. He was refusing to face his emotions. He was refusing to see the truth about his situation. And because he couldn't take responsibility, Rip took responsibility for his life and controlled him and made him do some things that he did not want to do. So don't allow yourself to get in a victim mentality. That is one step to breaking out of the pattern that you find yourself in. Next, we have your words create worlds. Spirit is showing me the scene where Clay, Blair, and Julian are all at a different nightclub around the middle of the film, and Rip comes up to Julian asking him where his money is and asks him if he wants some drugs from him, and Julian's like, no, I want nothing from you. And you can tell that he's kind of going through some withdrawals. And Blair says in a very kind-hearted way, Julian, please don't start. And he looks at her and he lashes out at her and he says, I just really appreciate if you stayed out of my business. And Blair, she doesn't like to be talked to that way, so she just leaves. She walks in a different direction, and you can see that Julian he feels bad about how he reacted to her. So Spirit is saying, be very mindful of your words. Your words create worlds. So if we react and we lash out at people and we say things that we don't mean, then we're perpetuating a cycle where people who do the same thing are going to be attracted to us. We'll attract people who lash out and are mean to us. So the key here is to learn how to respond instead of react, and to pay attention to the words that you are saying. It just goes back to, if we don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. I don't always agree with that, because sometimes I think that it is important to confront certain people when standing up for ourselves. It depends on the situation. So I'm hearing discernment. So choose your battles wisely when it comes to these things. But be very mindful of the words you are saying, because we are shifting parallel realities all the time. And if we keep saying hurtful things to people in our life that we care about, then we will continue to attract similar people into our lives. You cannot pour from an empty cup. With this card, I'm being drawn to the title of the film, Less Than Zero. So that would epitomize an empty cup, right? This film is all about Julian's downward spiral into a very dark void. He's immersed in his shadow self in this film. He doesn't feel nurtured, supported. He lashes out. He reacts instead of responds. He doesn't take responsibility for his own life. He's just expecting things from other people, expecting things will just be given to him, and everybody in his life is just enabling him. He gets to rock bottom. It gets to the point where nobody wants anything to do with him. And he has nowhere to sleep. There are many scenes throughout this film where he is just sleeping outside by the ocean. And it's like the epitome of what rock bottom looked like for him in this film. So if some of you feel like you have hit rock bottom, Spirit wants you to know that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So first and foremost, what can you do to put more self-love into your life, even in the darkest of situations? What can you do to love yourself in these moments where self-hate may be coming up to the surface at the forefront? Because in this movie, Julian did not love himself. That's why he did these things, and that's why he got to rock bottom. But when we fill up our cup, when we put the focus on wanting better for ourselves and exuding that love from within, that's when real change starts to happen. There is a very interesting book called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depended on It. And the man in this book, he would repeat over and over and over to himself, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself. And he did this constantly until he really believed it. In the mornings, what can you do to create a routine for yourself where the first part of the day is devoted completely to you and filling up your cup? This will help you get through this darkness and also help you to feel your emotions. Journaling out your feelings is an act of self-love. Clearing up your home, tidying your home, getting rid of things that no longer serve you is an act of self-love because our home is a reflection of us. Reaching out for help is an act of self-love. Allowing yourself to work with a therapist, an energy healer, is an act of self-love. It's not a weakness to get help. So, first and foremost, in the film, Julian's very selfish. And sometimes self-love is looked at as being selfish, but in this sense, it's not. He's selfish in the sense that he doesn't want to stop his addiction because he's not allowing himself to take responsibility for his life. But once one takes responsibility for their life, that is an act of self-love, and that's how you begin to fill your cup back up. Taking care of oneself, eating nutritious foods, allowing yourself to do things that you love, tapping that energy into a creative passion, using that as an outlet to get your emotions out, to unleash your creativity. So what are some self-love acts that you can do right now to fill your cup back up? And it's best to do these anytime you want in the day, but in the morning it's very ideal because this is getting yourself prepared for the day before you go into your day. Next, we have inspiration. Be prepared, as you'll soon receive a visit from the Fairy of Inspiration. Come dusk or dawn, she can call at any time. Julian in the film, he had a lot of aspirations for himself. He was very inspired to start a club. So he was working to get the money to be able to open a club where people could come and hang out and party and dance and stuff. So they're showing me that you have a lot of inspiration. You have a lot of ideas that by getting them down on paper, not only by doing that, other inspiration will come to you as you're doing this because you're in that creative mode of writing down what inspires you. So anytime something inspires you, write it down on paper and then think about how you can take steps to move towards that and create that for yourself. Because Spirit is showing me that even though there's these feelings of feeling unsupported, you actually have a lot of support around you and they whisper inspiration in your ears. They give you creative ideas all the time. Just allow yourself to get quiet so you can open up and hear that inspiration. So they're saying that it can strike at any time. Next, we have life energy. The happy fairy of sunshine brings lots of life-giving energy. She reminds you to shine your light and to reveal anything in the shadows that needs to be healed. So yeah, Julian was immersed in his shadow aspects. So I feel like there's a lot of shadow work going on for you at this time. You're becoming aware of patterns that need to be broken. You're coming into lessons. There's a lot of powerful change right now due to this shadow work that you've been doing. And if you've seen Lesson 0, Julian is immersed in his shadow self in this film. Like the film, the title, Lesson 0, he literally hits rock bottom. But here, the shadow work that you are doing, this is fueling the way for your life force energy as you let go of everything that no longer serves you. Powerful change is transpiring in your life as you learn to overcome these negative patterns that have been repeating in your life. Conclusions are super close to shine your light on anything in the shadows that needs to be healed. And congratulations for wanting to look at your shadows, because it is not easy to do. Shining a light on things about ourselves that we have repressed for so long, it brings up a lot of emotions. There is significant healing to be had with that, but congratulate yourself by being willing to look at these dark aspects of yourself and to integrate them within yourself. That is what is ushering in this life force energy, integrating the dark and the light together. Next, we have inner child. The fairies of playfulness remind you to make time to embrace your inner child. Playing keeps us young at heart. Do something silly and fun, but stay safe. So yeah, there's some inner child healing that needs to take place here. And I'm being shown the scene where Clay is talking about when him and Julian were kids and how Julian lost his mom at a very young age, and he would sit by the phone and he would wait for her to call because she always did that. And when she didn't call, it deeply affected him. And this is just kind of an indication as to why he resorted to addiction in the film. His mother was very nurturing and supportive, and he lost that lifeline. And when he lost that, when she passed on, he resorted to addiction because he wasn't allowing himself to really grieve the relationship that he once had. So Spirit is showing me that some of you may have resorted to the addiction that you have due to a relationship you lost when you were a very young child, and it was very traumatic. And this was a source of someone who was very nurturing to you, and losing that lifeline made you feel like no one in your life supports you. It created a belief, but that is a belief and you can shift it. You can choose to override it by knowing that you are nurtured and supported. The universe has your back. And when you nurture and support yourself, you will start to attract people who nurture and support you as well. So don't allow yourself to get caught up in that victim mindset. Take responsibility and allow yourself to heal any inner child wounds that may be coming to the surface at this time due to something traumatic that happened when you were a kid. And also, remember to be fun, be silly. They're showing me how Julian, in the beginning of the film, has this very light-hearted nature. And they're showing me specifically the scene where Clay and Blair, they're driving in his convertible, and Julian is like laying upside down and he's singing Christmas songs. Like, he's a very joyful person. It wasn't all bad with Julian, and it's not all bad in your situation. There is good to be seen in your situation right now. And when we focus on the good becomes magnified. So remember to have fun while doing this shadow work, healing your inner child, and to just let go of anything that no longer serves you at this time. Yeah, we have the sun. We have the sun, we have expect powerful change. Conclusions are within reach. The sun is shining on you, and it's because you're willing to look at the dark aspects and shine the light on them. You are a light. Don't let anyone dim your light. Don't let anyone tell you that you cannot overcome any fears, addictions, limiting beliefs, because you're in the process of doing it. And shadow work is not easy. So this definitely does feel like a dark night of the soul is transpiring right now, and all of the shadows are coming up to the surface, but the sun is still shining. The sun will continue to shine on you. So don't dim your light for anyone, and congratulate yourself for being willing to look at these very difficult aspects. It is not easy to do. And your final 3 motivational cards, we have Don't Wait, Life Goes Faster Than You Think, Live the Life You've Dreamed of, Kindness is Always Fashionable. So in the film Less Than Zero, this is a spoiler, but it's essential to the message of this reading. Julian did not get the chance to break his addiction once and for all. He actually dies at the end of the film, and he wasn't able to live out his dreams for himself, and he was only 18 years old. He was a kid. So that's why Spirit is saying, don't wait. Life goes faster than you think. Do it now. Whatever you want your life to look at, start working on it now in the present moment, because what you do now is creating your future. Life goes faster than you think, and you can break through any obstacle that life hands to you because you are strong. These experiences have shaped who you are, and your life is your message. So don't let opportunities pass you by. Live the life you've dreamed of. Julian had aspirations to be the owner of amazing nightclubs. That was what was in his heart. And he didn't get to live that out. You have aspirations for yourself. Live the life you've dreamed of, because nothing is impossible when you believe in yourself. And as you continue to break these cycles within yourself, you're going to see that fear is really an illusion, and that you are capable of doing anything that you want. And they are showing me, actually, Robert Downey Jr., they're showing me how he actually did have a drug addiction in real life, and he went on to become Iron Man. He went on to become Iron Man. He was caught up in addiction in his past, and he did not let that define him. So he lived the life he dreams. Live the life you dreamed of, because it is possible. And he's an example of that. And it's interesting because he probably was an actor in this film at a time where addiction was very prevalent in his life. And then it manifested physically in his real life, but he proved to the world that you can do anything. And he has blockbuster movies with the Avengers, with Iron Man. He really did a 180. Nothing is impossible. And the last message, kindness is always fashionable. And that's just reiterating to be mindful of the words that you're saying. When you're kind to people, that energy that you put out into the world, it always comes back to you. So that is all that I am seeing. Pile number 3. If your reading resonated, if you enjoyed it, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.